It's me, Mario!
Hey, what's up everyone? Stacy here and welcome back to Super Gaming Minute, the channel dedicated to all things Nintendo and gaming related. As you all know by now, this year marks Mario's 35th anniversary. And in celebration of this, we'll be continuing on with our second episode of Super Mario Bros. Facts, going over the second entry this time. But before that, if you haven't seen the first episode in the series, I'll leave a link to that video so you can check that one out as well. Now, while Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World builds upon the original entry in the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, Mario Bros. 2 is an anomaly and is its completely own thing. But why is that? Now, obviously, this is only the second entry in the Super Mario Bros. Series, and Nintendo hasn't perfected the Mario formula yet. But is that the only reason for such a different game? Well, let's do a little digging to see what we can come up with. But before we get into that, if you guys like all things Nintendo and gaming, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all new content. We'll be uploading videos every Monday, so make sure to check in every week for new content. And without further ado, here are 10 things you didn't know about Super Mario Bros. 2. Number 1. It's not Super Mario at all. Alright, let's get the obvious out of the way first. We all know by now that Super Mario Bros. 2, or Super Mario USA, as it's called in Japan, is actually a reskinned version of Doki Doki Panic, a game that takes place inside of a storybook setting in the Land of Mu. In the Land of Mu, the quality of its citizens' dreams determines the quality of the weather the next day, and because of this, the citizens of Mu have developed a dream machine that ensures the citizens could control their dreams, which would also put them in control of the following day's weather. Until one day, an evil toad named Mamu, not that toad, this toad. Ah, yes, much better. Until Mamu, or as we know him in the West, Wart, invaded the Land of Mu, stealing the dream machine and turning it into a nightmare machine. However, the citizens of Mu had learned of his weakness to vegetables and used this knowledge in order to defeat him. Ah yes, vegetables. Kills evil toads, turns my children up dinner. Number 2. Howard Phillips. Howard Phillips, the warehouse employee that could, who rose through the ranks in order to become Minoru Arakawa's most trusted game tester, was the reason for Doki Doki Panic getting its new look and eventually becoming Super Mario Bros. 2 in the West. Why does this guy look so familiar? Oh yeah, right. Anyway, when Howard was tasked to test out Super Mario Bros. 2 for the Famicom system in Japan, in order to see if it would be a good fit for American audiences, Howard hated it, feeling the game relied too much on counterintuitive tricks and was simply too punishing to be fun. On his recommendation and having full faith in Howard, Arakawa would pass on releasing the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, and instead commissioned the Japanese headquarters to retool Doki Doki Panic. What do you guys think? Have you played the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, or Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels as it's called here? Did Howard make the right choice? Or should we have gotten the same game the Japanese audiences received? Let me know in the comments below. Number 3. The Legend of Wart. Another new entry in this game is the exclusion of Bowser and the inclusion of a new villain named Wart. While Wart is yet to be cast in another Mario game, this wasn't the last time we'll see him. He makes his triumphant return in The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and again in the 2019 Switch remake of the same name. Only this time, Wart uses his original name of Mamu, and instead of being a villain, he actually helps Link by performing the Frog's Song of the Soul, which Link will then use in order to awaken sleeping and dead characters. Being set in a dream world itself, Link's Awakening is a great place to have the return of this character. Will we see Wart take on the guise of a villain again in another Mario game? We can all dream. Sorry, where were we? Number 4, Cash Me Outside. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I couldn't think of another title, so Cash Me Outside it is. Anyway, moving on. When you defeat Wart at the end of Super Mario Bros. 2, you enter a cutscene. In this cutscene, you'll see Wart being carried away by a legion of Shy Guys, while all 4 playable characters are standing on top of a pedestal celebrating their achievement. One of the original ideas was to give the player a cash reward. Basically, the less times you die at a certain character, the more of a cash reward they would get in return. I suppose the idea was to encourage the player to keep playing and beating the game in order to best their previous record, and thus earning a higher cash reward per playable character. This feature was left out of the game most likely since earning money in the game didn't reap any real-world benefit, and was left on the cutting room floor. What do you guys think? Will this reward motivate you to play through the game in hopes of beating your previous scores and earning more sweet moolah? Let me know in the comments. Number 5. Nintendo Power. In July of 1988, children all over the world had received the very first issue of Nintendo Power. And right there on the front cover was a picture of Mario and a picture of Wart, designed by the same studio that brought you the California Raisins. That's right, the California Raisins. It was the first time gamers would discover that they would be getting a sequel to Super Mario Bros. Later that year, on October 1988, the Western audience would receive Super Mario Bros. 2. Number 6. Mario Mainstays. There are more than a few characters and characteristics from Super Mario Bros. 2 that started in Doki Doki Panic and Super Mario Bros. 2 that have become crowd favorites and mainstays of the franchise ever since. Characters that have been introduced in this title have been used in later incarnations of the series that include Bob-ombs, Shy Guys, and Birdo. This version of Super Mario Bros. Also gave us Luigi's distinct behaviors, such as his taller stature and higher jumping ability. Number 7. Reach for the Sky. According to an interview with Doki Doki Panic's director Kensuke Tanabe, the game was originally to have the player vertically ascending instead of more traditional platformer that has the character advancing through the gameplay horizontally. And you would have items and blocks that you could pile up to go higher, or you could grab your friend that you were playing with and throw them and try to continue to ascend. Although the game doesn't exclusively have the player ascending horizontally, you can definitely come across evidence of this while progressing through the game. Number 8. Birdo or Ostro? Because of how delayed the game was coming over to America from Japan, and with Nintendo of America rejecting Super Mario Bros. 2 and asking for a new game to be made entirely, it seems very possible that some mistakes may have been made in production of the Western version of Super Mario Bros. Case in point, if you look at the instruction manual for the game, you'll see that Birdo and Ostro's names have been switched. The same is evident in the closing scene of the Western Super Mario Bros. Game seen here. Although certain oversights like this are very possible, this one does strike me as pretty odd. Although Birdo isn't exactly a bird, I don't think it is. They both have bird names, but they're completely different enemy types. How do you get a boss character mixed up with a everyday minion? I don't understand. Number 9. He or she? Now, staying on the subject of Birdo, is Birdo a girl? I mean, Birdo is pink. Birdo wears a bow, and Birdo really looks like a girl. And besides, this is a video game made in the late 1980s. What are the odds that Nintendo would create a character that is a gender other than what the character looks like or would seem to be on screen? Well, the odds are pretty good, as it would turn out. When looking through the Super Mario Bros. 2 instruction manual, it's quite clear. Quoting the manual itself, it clearly says, he thinks he's a girl, and he spits eggs from his mouth. He'd rather be called Birdetta. there you go. Number 10, chip shortage or cold feet? Now, it's well documented that there was a microchip shortage in the US during the release of Super Mario Bros. 2. But was this the only reason that parents all over the country couldn't get their hands on copies of The Legend of Zelda or Super Mario Bros.? Or would it just be retailers unsure if the cartridges would sell? Or they would again have video game cartridges taking up space and collecting dust on the shelf? It was most likely a little bit of both. Just a few years back, coming off the heels of a video game crash in the early 1980s, stores were reluctant to buy too many of a certain game, especially after the crash showed them that there had been such a huge influx of titles sitting on their store shelves that nobody wanted. Yes, the NES was selling and the first Super Mario Bros. Was a hit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the second one would be as popular as the first. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately I suppose, Nintendo fever was alive and well in the US, and the game sold like hotcakes, causing a shortage on store shelves and upset children all over the country. Alright, and that is going to wrap things up for the second of 3 top 10 Super Mario Bros. Facts videos. Thanks again to everyone who watched and for helping me celebrate the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary. Hopefully you all learned something new about Super Mario Bros. 2, and if you did, comment down below which facts surprised you the most. Also, is there anything we missed? Feel free to leave that in the comments as well. And get ready guys, because Super Mario Bros. 3 is coming up next. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, share the video with your friends. Please help us grow. We're trying to reach our goal of 1,000 subs before the end of the year. It's a tall order, but we think we can really do it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Keep on gaming.